Good afternoon, you guys, and welcome back to Realty Rides. It is a beautiful Saturday afternoon here. It's the end of April. Spring is upon us, motorcycle season's here, and what better thing to do today than to ride our bike today and do a comparison of our Ironhead Sportsters that we have in our little fleet, and also the iconic history of the Sportster brand motorcycle from Harley Davidson. So welcome back to Realty Rides. I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. So this, you guys, is another iteration of the Ironhead. This is a 1965 Ironhead 900cc, and this bike could be considered a couple things. It could be considered a bobber because it's got the bob fender, but it also could be considered a Boardtrack racer from back in the 30s when they raced these bikes around a big oval Boardtrack and without brakes. But it could be a combination of both. This is a custom bike. I can't take credit for building this bike. This was built by Nash Motorcycle Company about 8-10 years ago, I think, and they did a fantastic job on it. You can tell the paint job is absolutely exquisite. The leather seat is beautiful. This is done by a professional. Like I told you, I'm not a professional builder. I'm just an amateur guy in the garage. So this bike is for sale. I'm going to be putting it on Craigslist on eBay here shortly. And it has got a 21-inch front end, and it has a 16-inch wheel in the back. And if you can see, the bike has beautiful engraving on it, done by the Nash people. It is got a Springer front end, a 1940s, 50s Springer front end, narrow body front end. And special ignition plaque that I put on myself. And look at the primary cover, you guys. Look how gorgeous that is. All hand engraved. And the brake is an old 1960s Hurst shifter that probably came out of an Easy Cobra or something. So this is a 1973 XLCH Sportster, and this is what the bikes first came out in 1957, and they all had a similar look to this. This has the 1000cc Ironhead engine, which is a very robust motor. It has a swing arm. It has drum brakes on both, and of course later on it went to a front disc brake, and then of course later on it went to dual disc brakes. But this bike is pretty much an old school bike. It's got a 2.5 gallon peanut tank. This is not the handlebar that came with the bike, obviously, but it still has a 33.5 millimeter front forks, the beautiful 21-inch wheel in the front, and yeah, it's kickstart only. I'm sorry, it's kickstart and electric start. There's an electric starter right there, and there's the kickstart. So it has the best of both worlds. It's dual plug, so it has 4 spark plugs, and the push rods are taken out, of course, because we're still trying to build this motor. So it's always a labor of love. It's always an issue when you build bikes, but I just wanted to show you what the original Sportster looked like, Ironhead Sportster. Then later on we go now to our chopper. So when you take this frame, you take the swing arm off, you would then put what's called a rigid hardtail on, and this is our 1977 XLCH Sportster. Again, same engine, but now it has a rigid hardtail. It has no shock absorbers, so the only shock absorbers you have are these springs on the seat that I made. This bike is called Little Wing in honor of Jimi Hendrix's song, because while I was building it, and it took me 2 years to build this bike, and that'll be another video where I'll show you how I built this thing, but this is my variation or my interpretation of a 1960s, 1970s style chopper. I built the sissy bar, I built the seat, I built the fender, I fabricated the pipes. A lot of work went into this bike that I did by myself. And a little oil tank in the front, that is an old fire extinguisher. And front dual disc brakes, so this bike stops really well. It has a drum brake in the back. Again, the 2.5 gallon little peanut tank. Both the bikes have S&S Super E carbs. The other bike that I'm building, this one also has a brand new carburetor. I like the SS Super E. It's easy to use. It functions really well. the best part of it all, it has this wonderful choke lever on top that allows you easy access to start the motor. Especially these older engines, they can be a little finicky at times. This has a 34mm front end, front forks, and it is a narrow glide, not wide glide. It has a 19-inch wheel in the front and a 16-inch wheel in the back. And again, this is a 1977 chopper that I built. Built this ignition box right here. There's a generator, oil filter, primary. There's the battery. A little brass plate on top I built as well. Fabricated the tail light, fender. Like I said, I did a lot of things. That has a little bottle opener here that my wife painted. And then the seat I made myself, which again will be for a future video, and I'll show you guys how to build your own motorcycle seat, your own straps, and your own fender for that matter, and sissy bar. So that is the 73, and you saw the 65, and then you saw the 77. So then later on, years later, the bike goes to fuel injection, and that's what we have here on our 2007 Sportster 883, actually 1200. This is the 1200, so you can see the engines look much different now. Now it's an aluminum engine, whereas those guys were cast iron. Very heavy to lift. This engine here is an aluminum. And it is a very popular motor. This is the current model of the Sportster 883, the 1200. They are all pretty much the same body style and the same foundation and chassis. It has disc brakes in the back and disc brakes in the front. This bike stops very well. It starts easily. It's fuel injection. It has a lot more power than those two guys, and electric start, of course. And this has a 35mm front fork, I believe. And of course, this is attached to a sidecar, but it can be unbolted really quickly, and then you have another Sportster bike to ride. Like I said, this is a very reliable motorcycle. It's a proven engine. It's like the evolution and twin cam motors of current day that Harley Davidson has, including that new Milwaukee 8. They're all pretty much similar. This is considered a current modern day bike. You can bring it to a Harley Davidson dealership and work on it, whereas these two guys cannot. You need to work on this stuff yourself or find a shop, and there's a few shops here in Seattle and of course in Los Angeles that work on these bikes. But let me just tell you that the Ironhead Sportster is, a few years ago, a little history, all these engines, the pan heads, the shovel heads, iron heads, knuckleheads, they were all throwaway motors. And back in the 60s, you could buy a pan head or a knucklehead engine for like $1,000, $600. And these weren't even considered, money-wise at all. But now, with companies like Power Plant, Nash Motorcycles, Cycle Zombies, and many others, they're starting to build really cool Sportsters for the mass market. If you go on Instagram, you'll see thousands of pictures of really cool Ironhead Sportsters. Got that beautiful rocker box look, cam cover. They just look awesome. The new bikes look good too, but they've made hundreds of thousands of these. And these guys here are becoming more and more rare. And now the prices are starting to go up. People are really coveting them again. And it's a nostalgic thing as well for these motorcycles. All right, so let's go for a little ride. And let's take the chopper out today. You saw the sidecar bike. This bike, of course, is not running right now, which we'll ride in the future. But let's ride a chopper and let's see what that's like. Here we go. First gear. It's got only a 4-speed, by the way. Beautiful day today on Whidbey Island. And we're not going to go fast. We're just going to kind of cruise along here. today is we don't have a lot of wind, but look at the beautiful view. It's a great country road. It's a nice road to ride this type of bike on. Beautiful colors. This is the kind of bike they used to ride back in the 60s and 70s, and believe it or not, they rode these type of motorcycles all over the country. The older style bikers used to be really hardcore. They used to ride these bikes thousands of miles, sleep in the desert in the sleeping bags right next to the bikes, and that's the way they traveled. And you know, that's why I kind of like, of course I'm never going to be that hardcore, but it's nice to ride something that has that type of history, that type of lineage to it. So you see I'm here in second gear, going about 30 miles per hour. I don't have a speedometer, no blinkers, nothing. It's a very naked bike. It only has 6 wires for the starter, the headlight, ignition, and the coil. That's pretty much it. So the rough, you know, and the road is a little bumpy. It's a little bit harsh, but it's okay. You know, it's not the kind of bike, it's not the bike for everybody. But I sure love it. You know, I like different experiences. I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. I mean, it's all about an adventure and getting someplace from point A to point B in a very unique fashion. And I've been riding this thing now for 7 years. This is my daily rider back and forth to my job at Boeing. I've ridden this thing in the rain and the snow, 100-degree days, and always on a beautiful afternoon like today. Life's all about, you know, you gotta get out of your comfort zone, get on something cool like this, and explore. Life is short. I'm always trying to promote on my channel is to live your life to the best you can. So thanks for watching, you guys. I hope that you guys enjoyed this little comparison of different Ironhead Sportsters and the current bikes. We'll be doing some more motorcycle reviews in the future. I really appreciate your support. Thanks for subscribing, commenting. I've got almost 50 subscribers now, and I'm getting a lot of views. So thanks again for watching Realty Rides. We'll see you guys on the next ride.